नहीं बोलना तो ज़रा उसमें ही है, उसमें क्या कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
नहीं बोलने के लिए मैं
हाँ नहीं आई थिंक वी शुड कीप इट लाइक कॉन्शियस फील हो रहा है. Right. Cool. Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Naveen Labana. I welcome you all on our show Live with Agrosaw. Ladies and gentlemen, life is a very interesting cycle, and I always feel very mesmerized by the potential of a tiny seed. The tiny seed knows that in order to grow, it is needed to be dropped in dirt, covered in darkness, and it has to struggle to reach the light. With that thought, today we have a very special guest, Mr. Kodali Nageshwer Rao. Mr. Rao is a President of India awardee in 1977 for his excellent contribution in the development of Metamatic seed treater. He has more than 50 years of global experience and has worked as a technical consultant to many national and international firms. Currently, he is working as a senior consultant in seed processing and technology. 2 weeks back, we ran a contest on Facebook asking for questions related to seed industry, seed processing plants and all. And to our delight, we received a wonderful, overwhelming response. We received many questions, and Mr. Rao and Agrosaw team, we shortlisted 7 questions which we will be taking today in our discussion. Before I welcome Mr. Rao, I will request my audience, all the viewers, that if you have any doubt, any question, you can message us with your phone number, or you can even comment in the comment box with your phone number. We'll try to include the questions during the discussion, or we will reach back to you and we'll call you and we'll give you the solutions, all the required solutions you are seeking. A very warm welcome to you, Mr.
Rao. Thank you, Naveen. Thanks for your nice introduction, and I welcome all viewers. That definitely they will try to impart as much technical knowledge we have to our viewers.
Right, sir.
From the definition of seed itself, you are given a wonderful definition of seed.
Right.
I'm really extremely happy with that.
Right.
And definitely that's a starting point. So we'll start the session now.
Great, sir. Great. So let me, without wasting any time, come to the first question we have selected. The first question is, sir, what is the best time for processing of seed? Is it just after the harvesting or just before sowing the seed?
To start with, this type of question is a very good session we are going to have. As already you explained that you are dropping a seed in darkness. Right. Yes, very good. But what is the seed? The seed with full vigor, vitality, and capable of germinating on time. So unless you have this seed, you can't, the farmer who is using it will not be satisfied.
Right.
And you know, seed is a living thing.
Yes.
It is affected by the environment.
Right.
Seed processing is a tool in the hands of seed producer to enhance the properties of what you explained.
Right.
Keeping the vigor, viability till it is planted and the plant comes out comfortably and produces the same plant. So here the basic question is, yes, seed processing we know, but when to start?
Right.
As you know, the seed is safe on the plant till it reaches its maturity. When once it is mature, then the farmer harvests it. The life cycle of the seed starts at this stage.
Okay.
So unless you protect it from the environment, temperature, humidity, all insects, pests, all sorts of seed-borne diseases,
right.
It will not go in its original form.
Right.
So the best time is to process it immediately after harvesting. But as you know very well, the crop time is fixed, say 120 days, 140 days.
Yes.
The entire seed is planted during that period.
Yes.
So the entire seed comes for harvesting in 10 days time because the planting is done in 10 days.
Correct.
But the processing you have to do for about 90 days. You can't have a seed processing plant which will do everything in 10 days.
Right.
It takes about 90 days.
Yes.
So you have to take all precautions till it reaches the processing plant. You have to take care of the seed after harvesting till comes to the processing plant, raw seed, processed seed, packet seed, and reaches the farmer. So I would start it right from the day one when it is harvested.
Perfect. Perfect, sir. So, I mean, shorter the time, better the seed quality, I believe.
Exactly.
Great. Let me come to the second question, sir. Does the cleaning and grading process increases the germination percentage of seed? And if yes, why and how?
Now, we talked about when to start processing, that is after harvesting.
Right.
Harvesting, farmers use different methods, different post-harvest technologies with proper care. The thrashing, harvesting, everything has to be done with the machines,
Right.
with causing minimum mechanical damage to the seed.
Right.
The raw seed that comes from the machines, harvesters, has a
Yes.
lot of inert matter,
Right.
undesirable materials.
Yes.
I call it undesirable materials.
True.
Now, the desirable materials I call the seed which germinates very well, healthy seed.
Right.
So you have to, unless you separate them, you don't get a good seed.
Yes.
Hence, you are not increasing the germination merely by processing, but physically, you are improving the quality of seeds to germinate well because you are removing the ungerminable portion immediately.
True.
That's what happens in case of processing. So processing is a very vital link
Right.
to enhance the lot germination. We call the overall germination of the lot.
Perfect. So, cleaning and grading, I mean, the processing is very important as you have already described. Sir, I have just want to add something, and please correct me if somewhere I'm wrong. So the seed, because India is a very diverse country, we have different kind of soil types down south in India. Central India have a different climatic conditions and soil condition, and similarly in North India things are different. I believe due to that the impurities might be different, So somewhere, I mean, we have to, rather a processor has to take care of that as well in cleaning.
Yes, as an equipment supplier, I definitely appreciate this. This you have to keep in your mind. Yes, see, the season, suppose the seed produced in Kharif poses certain problems. The seed produced in Rabi poses a different problem.
Yeah.
Suppose in a state where the places are humid, places are dry, cool climates.
Right.
See, there are different climate. India is such a vast country where you can come across various agroclimatic conditions.
Right.
So to suit to design, to locate a seed processing plant, then to locate a seed storage, to locate a cold storage,
Right.
you need to study the environment and select the best places. Definitely, I agree with you. And then the physical appearance also changes. That's
Yeah.
very important.
Yeah. Yes. In continuation to this, let me ask you my next question, sir. Which all machines are used in a commercial setup, in a commercial seed processing plant? And if you could just give us a brief about, if there is any government rules or government standards or government norms attached to it, sir.
Yes, this is an excellent question, which covers the whole the game of seed processing.
Yes, it does.
Right from harvesting to this. Yes, the government prescribes certain standards called minimum seed certification standards,
Okay.
and put it in the form of a blue book. That is like a Bible.
Right.
So for different various crops, various varieties, it has been put. This facilitates the seed producer either to certify his seed that it is meeting those standards,
Right.
or label it. There's a provision of labeling.
Oh.
Labeling is nothing but self-certification. So he has to have test his own seeds and see that the seed meets these standards.
Okay.
The standards include germination, physical purity,
Right.
other crop seeds, various other impurities. What are the limits? Ultimately, you are supposed to give them a 98% pure seed.
Okay.
To do this process, how do you achieve this? As already discussed in the first question, we have to remove all the undesirable materials
Right.
so that, suppose for example, you got 100 kgs, in the 10 kgs is all this type of undesirable material. The moment you remove this 10 kgs, the 90 kgs becomes a very good seed with a high percentage of germination.
True.
To achieve this, to remove this 10% or 15%, whatever it may be,
Yeah.
you have different methods. The best thing is depending upon the physical characteristics.
Okay.
See, the scientist, the breeder gives the seed genetically very strong and pure material.
Right.
So if you plant a material of genetic purity, it gives a very healthy plants, desirable characteristics. As a processor, it is your responsibility to take care of its physical quality.
Oh.
See, so both are very important, genetics and physical.
Okay.
So
Okay.
in physical quality, you can maintain these things, remove the undesirable materials by taking, as you said, physical characteristics. What are the physical characteristics? Length, size, width, color,
Yes.
weight,
Yes.
shape. See, in the good olden days, I don't know if you remember, on the basis of, suppose you have black gram seed mixed with mud balls. They used to put a plank at a slope and drop their seed. The seed which very smooth, it rolls very fast and the
Yes.
mud particle stays back. There's also a seed processing machine. In the
Yes.
good olden days, long time back, our grandmothers used to do it.
Right.
That is based on the shape.
Right.
But overall, it is the basic machine is based on the size.
On the size. Right.
So that is a seed cleaner, the basic machine.
Right. Before you go to the like first machine you're going to describe, I have a small question, sir, here.
Yeah.
So I mean, as you said, I mean, the farmer have a plethora of different brands and companies to choose seed from, and all the companies they work particularly in giving the best quality seed, following the government norms, as you said. Is there any small test which a farmer could do, probably in their own setup, maybe in their own processing plant, or maybe in their field, where they can actually judge the quality of seed? Any possibility of that?
Yes, Naveen, it's a wonderful thing. See, this is pertinent to both the consuming farmer who uses the seed or producing farmer.
Right.
See, in case of certified seed and labeled seed, they take care of it.
Oh.
But still, as a consuming farmer and or as a distribution farmer, it is your basic duty. Suppose a farmer is producing some wheat seed or retains some wheat seed and a paddy seed at his house to use in the next season. So how does he know whether that seed is good or bad? So he can conduct his own germination test,
Oh.
taking a sand tray,
Right.
randomly selecting 100 seeds,
Okay.
2-3 trays, put 100 seeds in each tray and see how they are germinating. While germinating, see, our farmers are the best scientists. They are very, very practical because their way of expression is different.
Yes.
But they know to observe that the seed which has a good vigor and viable will germinate between 3 to 5 days.
Right.
If you take the count at that time, if it is more than the required one, it's a good seed.
Perfect.
Sometimes some seeds half germinate now and half germinate after 7 days.
Right.
That means the viability is there, but vigor is not there.
Vigor is not there.
If vigor is not there, if you try to plant in the field conditions,
Right.
they will die. All the seeds will die.
Right.
So both the consuming farmer and the producing farmer should do this. So I mean, it's a wonderful reminder you are giving.
Perfect, perfect. And I'm sure that this information is kind of, my viewers are going to treasure it. And
Yes.
the two words which you have said, vigor and viability, they should be always remembered. Vigor should be there and viability should be there. Yes, sir. You please continue with the answer, sir. You're talking
Now
about
there
the
is some
machines.
more because of paucity of time, I will not give a very detailed account of all the machines.
Right, right.
After the size, the weight counts. The weight is very, very important.
Right.
For based on the physical characteristic weight, there is a machine called gravity separator. It separates the seeds based on the weight. But this gravity separator can separate the materials on based on weight when the seeds are the same size of different weights. For example, you have wheat seed, which is healthy, weighs very high. Ill-filled seed, the size is the same, but weighs less.
Oh.
Or some insect damage seed is there, it looks fully shaped, but inside there's a damage.
Yes.
So how do the cleaner cannot separate this type of things because size is the same.
Yes. Yes.
As already explained, in case of sizing between the top screen, when the seed goes on the top screen, the material, the screen is put at a size which is little higher than the good seed.
Good seed, yes.
So when we put the material on the top screen, all the larger side impurities are removed. Then this seed is put on this. That's why it's called scalping screen. The first screen is always scalping screen.
Right.
The second screen, you put a screen which is smaller size than the good seed.
Right.
So the smaller impurities go. So it is, you're getting a material between the top screen and the bottom screen, almost uniform size with edge separations where the light materials, soft materials are removed. This particular material, when it is fed on a gravity separator,
Yes.
that's where the seed is lined up from light to heavy.
Correct.
See, in this correction, I would like to explain.
So,
See, in olden days, about maybe 20, 25 years back, they used to have one gravity separator
yeah.
where the seed is flowing on that, the lighter side is removed,
Yeah.
the heavier side is collected as a good seed. In between, there is a middling, about 15 to 20%.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yes. This material, they used to put back and recycle it
Oh, yes.
because they don't know how to separate it.
Even
You are
this trend is
reducing.
still prevailing, sir.
Maybe then they should understand this. They must follow this very closely.
Yeah.
Now, what is happening in this? You are reducing your capacity by 20%. We suggest that you must add one more gravity called middling gravity, where these middlings are fed directly. It runs parallel to the regular gravity separator, where the seed is divided into light and heavier side, and the heavier side, which is good, is collected and mixed with the good seed coming from the first gravity. For this, I give an example where in good olden days, there's a processing plant you can see in the slide where basic machines like cleaner, gravity separator, a conventional slurry treater, and manual packing machine is there. There was an occasion about 10 years back, they want to update because the competition, the seed company, the quality, the people are now competing. Earlier, they used to compete with the quantity, good old days. Now they are competing with the quality and branding. So how to improve this?
Yeah.
So for this, I did a consultancy for a company with the help of Agrosaw. The second slide, the next slide, you can see
Yeah.
a middling gravity is introduced
Right.
with the latest rotomatic seed treaters
Yeah.
and then surge bins where the capacity between the variable capacity between the elevator and the clean next equipment is balanced. So surge bins are important, And packing is done automatically. You can see in the next slide, where you can see where people are sitting and stitching and automatically going.
Yes, yes.
So this is how, this is called, whoever wants to improve the quality of processing, they should think about where we are standing today.
Right, right.
See, if you miss today, you're not having future tomorrow. For future, you have to plan now
Yes.
and update your quality.
This is a beautiful piece of information you have given, sir, and what a wonderful observation you made and improvement you made in the plant. I was just noting down your point, and I just did a small calculation, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that
Yeah.
if there is a very small plant, let us suppose only of 2 ton, maybe on any crop could be wheat, if there is only 10% of middling happening, I believe it comes out to be like 10% of 2 ton could be around what, 200 kg capacity. So
Correct.
they are kind of, in 1 hour 200 kg capacity is working in like one for full day or 8 hours, it could be like 1.6 ton. I mean, that kind of thing they are recycling, and I would say it's kind of loss, right? So I mean,
Exactly.
using just extra machine, what you suggested, middling gravity or middling separator, I believe that will going to give them the wonderful solution and increase the efficiency in long run. Fantastic. Fantastic.
Excellent calculation, Naveen. And only one more point I want to add here. The availability of processing time is fixed. Sometimes it is 60 days or 90 days.
Ah,
If you want to process throughout the year, it's okay. It does not matter, slowly or. But whatever you process in those 60 days only goes for marketing.
right.
So this 10% of seed, it helps you a lot in covering up the time, actually.
Oh, so it would be 60 times actually.
Exactly.
Perfect, sir. Perfect. I'm sure that my viewers will definitely treasure this and note this point. And if I'm sure that this improvement has to go in. Right. So let me shift to the next question, sir. Why is there a difference in appearance of seed of 2 different companies, even when they are the same seed?
I think you already explained partially about this earlier, giving an example of a seed produced in different places in India.
Right, right.
So we already to some extent explained this point, because seed is a living thing, environmental affected. So depending upon the season, when it is harvested, there will be some unexpected rains at the time of harvesting. The seed can get wet. And if you don't take proper precautions and it gets, the appearance goes away. There will be some blackening of the seeds. There could be so many problems. And if you store it continuously, there may be some fungus problems also.
Right.
So the seed has, the appearance changes. It is imminent. You can't escape from that. But you have to take proper precautions. But our seed companies, they have some partial solution for this.
Right.
See, what they are doing, I think this point will explain when the next subject comes, maybe let us see. So I think I can
Sure,
show you.
sure. We'll answer this one in
but
probably next
meantime,
question. Yeah.
but meantime, you have to understand one thing about the moisture in the seeds, how it damages. So in this slide, you can see the seed is having a equilibrium moisture. When it happens, when the seed moisture, EMC, and the air is same, then there is no migration. The seed is safe. If it is raining outside or if it become wet, the seed gains the moisture, there could be some damage. So you can see when it is in equilibrium, there is no moisture vapor migration from seed to air or air to seed. When the outside conditions are congenial, some sort of drying happens. You can see when outside conditions are hot or the humidity is less, the moisture migrates from seed to A.
Okay, okay, right. So I think my next question will make a better connection with what you are already explaining. Let me ask you, up to what time can a seed be stored before sowing, and is there a time limit? Is there an ideal time limit as well?
You see, as you already we talked,
Yes.
there are various operations involved
Right.
from the seed harvesting
Right.
till it goes for planting.
Right.
The basic thing is the farmer storage, then he brings to the plant raw seed storage,
Yeah.
then the seed is processed with a gap, then
Right.
processed seed storage,
Right.
then the seed is treated and packed, then packed seed storage.
Yes.
Sometimes it takes about 30 days for the seed to reach the farmer, that is a transit storage. Then to keep the seed for next season, you need a long-term storage. Each storage has its own limitations.
Right.
For the raw seed to come, the 12% moisture rule should be used. Say, Government of India appointed a committee a long time back,
Okay.
one Mr. Harrington. He studied all the places in India. Of course, as per his session, we cannot, the most ideal storage place is Mount Abu and Simla. The country seed, all seed cannot go there.
Right.
So, but we have been producing for centuries
Yes.
without any problem. This is the practical knowledge of our farmers. What they found is 12%, the seed dried to 12% moisture and kept in cloth bags where it can respirate properly, minimum respiration. At 12%, the seed respirates minimum.
Oh.
Yeah. So, and as I already explained, the seed, food available for the seed to survive is constant in a particular seed, the starch portion.
Right.
If the moisture is going up, it respirates more, it consumes more food.
Right.
Then once the food is exhausted, the seed dies. So your idea is starting right from the beginning to keep the seed respirating minimum without any temperature damage and continue till it is planted.
Oh, very nice.
So our question is, what is the time a seed can be stored on its own?
Yes.
Yes, in different stages, you have to keep different environments. For example, raw seed is coming, you keep a proper pellets, proper ventilation
Right.
till it goes for processing. Once it is processed, it has to be separate storage where no insects can enter.
Right.
Check for the moisture. Wherever the moisture is beyond 12%, dry it and keep it. Then, once the processing is done and treatment is done, suppose you are putting in a vapor-proof container, better reduce the moisture below 10% and put in a vapor-proof container and keep it. You can keep it for 6 months.
Okay.
But suppose you want to keep it for still longer periods, you have to go for a cold storage.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Wonderful information, sir. Wonderful information for processors and farmers. I'm sure. Moisture is the basic key here.
Yeah.
Reduce the moisture, keep the seed for the longer period. If the moisture is
here-
high, you have to use the
here-
seed immediately. Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry.
You're saying something.
Here you have to use a small table which I can show you.
Yeah, please.
You can see where the seed can be stored. 11 to 13% moisture, you can keep it for 6 months. 10 to 12, 1 year. 9 to 11, 2 years. 8 to 10, 3 years. Up to 12% you can keep in cloth bags. Below 12% you have to put it in vapor-proof containers. That's important. And when once you put in a vapor-proof containers, I suggest you to put it in a cold climate.
Right.
See, for this, there's a thumb rule. The thumb rule says, for reduction of 1% moisture, the life gets double. Suppose you have seed at 12% moisture, as already explained, it can
Right.
stay for 6 months. You reduce it to 11%, the life will go by 1 year.
Right.
You reduce it to 10%, 10 to 9, it will stay for 2 years. Like that.
Right.
This is a thumb rule.
Right. So, if my understanding is right, I mean the moisture content is inversely proportional to the life of the seed.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
you
But
reduce
it's
it.
it's
you
a
increase
thumb
the
rule actually.
It's a thumb rule.
Thumb
Perfect.
rule. So that people understand. That's what we always call dry, cool climate.
Oh, right.
The best thing is when you breathe in, your nostrils should not become wet. It should be little dry. That is the
Yes.
best climate.
Yes.
That is the farmer way of doing it.
Right.
The farmer will bite the seed and say, what is the moisture?
Yes.
The farmer will breathe and say, what is the best environment?
Wow, what an observation, sir. Perfect.
Yeah.
Let us move to the next question, sir.
Yes.
So the next question is, what is seed treatment and what are its benefits? And any latest trend, if you could just share with us in seed treatment, and please share something about all the chemicals or the proteins which have been used to treat a seed.
See, you have taken care. The entire process, right from harvesting, processing, is one stage.
Yes.
Seed treatment is another very, very important factor to keep it free from insects and seed-borne diseases during the storage.
Okay.
In the good olden days, we were using slurry treaters, which I talked about. The award was given about 77.
Yes.
That is the time where slurry treaters were
Yes,
there.
this is your field.
So we
Yes.
developed it so that some chemical is saved and other things. But today the trend has changed. Earlier, we also discussed about the physical appearance of
Yes.
seed.
Yes.
So the solution for all these things is seed treatment. Now, to protect the seed from seed-borne diseases and storage insect, we use insecticide and a fungicide.
Okay.
These chemicals are water dispensable WDPs, water dispensable powders. That suspension in water.
Right.
So very difficult to make them coat on the seed. They're not water soluble.
Right.
Earlier days they used to put this slurry in a drum and then put the seed and rotate it,
Rotate it. Yes.
and then that's done.
Yeah.
But today they want a very uniform layer of chemical around the seed.
Right.
So how to achieve this? For this, you have these batch treaters or rotomatic seed treaters.
Oh.
And then the chemical is fed into it without any contact. Directly from the tank, it goes into the mixing chamber. As I already explained, these chemicals are water dispensable powders, very
Yes.
difficult to sell. So they use pumps called peristatic pumps. They're works like a heart.
Okay.
See, the pipe coming from the chemical chamber is monitored outside by rotating peristatic pump. So the exact quantity of chemical is sent into the mixing chamber.
Right.
This particular chemical is dropped into a high-speed revolving disc where it forms into a mist. In less than 60 to 90 seconds, the mist goes into the chamber and spreads on all the seeds and
Right.
coats. But still, the problem is not solved. The problem is you are using such an expensive chemical.
Yes.
By after treatment in the bags, transport, this and that, then because of rubbing, internal rubbings, the chemical comes out.
Yes.
So if you open a bag and take the seed, all the chemical will be in the bottom
Yes.
of the bag.
Yes.
That's why the company last 10 years, I think this trend is on, they use chemicals which fix the treatment on the surface of the seed.
Right.
Polycoats, we call it polycoats.
Polymers.
It fixes.
Yes.
So this polycoat has another advantage is to establish your brand name, quality,
Right.
people to know. You can give a color.
Yes.
A company maize both acha hai. It gives a very nice orange color, uniform.
Right.
And the other thing is also, suppose you take corn seed, it has very small pieces, and we call beeslings.
Correct.
In the rubbing, those powder comes out.
Yes.
This polycoat fixes that also.
Oh. Oh.
So when rubbing, that beeswax does not come.
Right. Right.
So you have so many advantages in this,
Right.
but still problem is not yet over.
Really?
Yes. The problem is still some sort of rubbing, some chemical will come out. So you have to use a different conveying equipment.
Oh.
You can see this slide. We shall use Z elevators.
Okay.
These are called positive discharge elevators.
Wow.
The regular elevators are centrifugal discharge. As the name implies, the seed comes and hits by centrifugal discharge.
Right.
For normal seeds, it's okay. For
Right.
treated seed, it should not happen. In a G elevator, the seed comes gently up,
Okay.
travels horizontally, and drops into a bin properly. So
Fantastic.
the rubbing is totally avoided.
Right.
So this is how you have to handle treatment is the very important. And then nowadays the farmers are going for vapor-proof packs, especially for corn seed.
Okay.
As per the minimum seed standards, the blue book, the moisture should be below 10%.
Right.
So you are insisting on the farmers, especially corn, it goes mostly by cob drying. They are drying to 10% and bringing it.
Okay.
If you subject the seed for treatment, the moisture goes up again. So you have to use after treatment a surface evaporator or a surface dryer where whatever it gained during the treatment is eliminated, then it goes for packing.
Okay. Okay.
So what are the actual good characteristics of a seed treater? Precise dosing of seed and chemical,
Yeah.
homogeneous treatment due to formation of chemical into a mist
Okay.
on a revolving disc, can be used for conventional treatment, polycoat treatment and metallic seal treatment. That's some special treatments.
Right.
Due to uniform distribution of moisture, it's very easy to evaporate it
Right.
because the surface moisture is uniformly distributed. It is a completely automatic batch operation.
Right. Right.
So here, the equipment supplier is very, very important
Very
to
important.
suggest them a proper treater.
Very important.
And the chemical, and most important, chemical wastage is eliminated very expensive because of peristaltic pumps. I hope I made my point very clear.
Very clear, sir. Very clear and very informative. I believe you have given very detailed information, detailed explanation about seed treating, and in the end, you also said that the right equipment is also very important, right?
Important.
The right quality of equipment will give the right seed treating. And very nicely explained, sir. I mean, why it is needed, why polycoating is important. You very well explained about the Z or Z elevators as well. And we in Agrosaw, we always recommend to use Z elevators here. Fantastically said, sir. I'm sure that this will add a huge wealth of knowledge to my viewers and audience. Let me shift to the last but not the least question of the evening. So if you could please tell us the importance of dryers. You just said a couple of lines in the end while you were answering the last question. If you could just tell us the importance of dryers in seed industry, and especially if you could just discuss case of paddy and maize, paddy specifically.
Wonderful. I think this is the most vital thing. As I said, after processing, treatment is important. During the processing, moisture management is also very important.
Right.
You should understand, right from receiving to the packing, you are managing the moisture of the seed at different levels.
Yes.
When the raw seed is coming, in corn, you prescribe about 10%, which can be achieved in cob drying equipment.
Right.
Where the cobs are dried and shelled, and at 10% it comes, and
Right.
put it in sealed bags or vapor-proof bags and brought to the processing plant. Then, in case of paddy, generally it is about 12%. But hybrid paddy comes at a higher moisture, which you have to dry it, and that is one of the major lagging point of paddy drying in the seed industry. at many places. I've seen it. Let me explain you, before going into the drying of paddy and corn, let me explain. I did a small study in the southern India. Indo-German project gave me a problem on the problems of post-harvest technology and made me to study certain things.
Right.
This graph shows you the period, the weather from January to December,
Okay.
and the moisture from 8% to 18% in different places, including Maharashtra, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Orissa, West Bengal, and Telangana.
Right.
What I did is, as I explained to you about equilibrium moisture content.
Yes.
That means they're in balance. The air and the seed are in balance.
Right.
So I've taken, suppose for example, January month. What is the mean temperature in January and what is the mean relative humidity? If I take these two and I have an equilibrium moisture table for different crops.
Right.
Different crops have different EMCs at different temperatures and humidities.
Yes.
I refer to that, and I got a EMC for January for Hyderabad, like that for different places. So I made a plot of these EMC data from January to December. And you can see in my graph, right from May end up to October end, the period is very critical as the moisture is going beyond 12, beyond 14, and in some time place going up to 16%. If you are handling any seed during this period, you have to have dryers.
Right.
In your processing plant. If you don't have dryers, even for storage also, even normal storage is a problem unless you have proper ventilation facilities, sealed containers, other things. So this explains to you what are the problem of temperature and humidity in the year. That's where you have to need, when you are starting a new processing plant, you have to consult your processor, your equipment supplier. Show him the location, give him the environmental data of that particular period. Then what you have to, when you are going to start processing, when you are going to keep it raw seed,
Right.
for how much period, then how much, what process it, how you are going to keep it, how long you are going to keep it, then when it is transported, what
Right.
are the
Right.
what are the precautions you have to take? You can design the processing plant and store it properly. This
Oh.
helps you. Incidentally, I want to give an example.
Right.
When I was working for a multinational company, I was looking after in Africa, where I built a $5 million project for a crop growing plant. The company same built a processing plant in Pakistan,
Oh.
where it is very near to the sea.
Right.
And after commissioning of the plant, they found the place is not suitable because the place is so humid and the seed can never be dried below 12%.
Right.
This point I'll explain you in my last slide.
Okay.
Coming to the drying of paddy, which has some proper technical problems, you can see in my sketch, the paddy seed internally contains different layers of bran.
Yes. Yes.
The moisture in paddy is locked between the layers. As I already explained in the earlier one, where I am sending a hot air, what is happening for drying? When hot air is sent on the seed, the heat from the air is absorbed by the seed and releases the moisture.
Right.
Moisture is brought out by air. Heat and air, that's what happens. In
Yes.
case of paddy, you are sending hot air. Yes, the surface is getting heated up. The surface moisture has come, but inside moisture does not come immediately outside.
Right.
Because paddy is not hygroscopic.
Yes.
So in this process, suppose you are having paddy at 16% moisture, you start drying. Outside has reached, say, 14%, or say, inside is still 16%. There's a moisture gradient. This creates moisture cracks on the surface of paddy.
Oh.
Suppose you have a BC soil where there are no rain, you can see the soil getting cracked on the crop. Similar macro cracks happen on paddy. To avoid this, we have a method called tempering. What will happen in tempering? You dry paddy only 2% at a time.
Okay.
16 to 14% in one stroke. Allow the seed to get normalized, homogenized for 4 hours. So from inside to outside, it should be the same, 14%. Then again subject to the seed, again 2% will go to 12%. This is the most important thing. As it is, there are no adequate paddy drying facilities. And this is another point. I think this is a little neglected point in the industry. I think Agrosaw should come out and people should, especially with hybrid paddy, which is very, very, I think is very, very critical. As already explained about paddy drying, I would like to show you something about corn.
Right.
Corn is more hygroscopic than paddy.
Okay.
I can better explain the process of drying on the psychometric chart you are seeing right before you. You can see in the psychometric chart, the ambient conditions, the time we are drying is 35 degrees centigrade.
Right.
And the relative humidity of the air is 90%. With this air, I want to dry the corn.
Right.
If I check up with the equilibrium moisture data, this small table given the corn, and you can see the EMC for this temperature and RH is 17%. That means if you have seed below 17% and put it there, it will absorb. Right. Suppose if you have seed above 17% and keep in this air, it will reduce to 17.
Right.
With this air, I'm heating it to a maximum limit of 43 degrees centigrade. Almost 110, 120 is the ultimate temperature, final temperature. When I heat it, the RH of the air comes down. It comes down to 60%. If I take the temperature 43 and 60% RH, the EMC of seed is 10.4. Suppose by passing this hot air on the seed, it goes up to 10.4. So this is the best method individually to check if you have a EMC data, if you have a temperature meter, if you have a hygrometer at that moment during the daytime or nighttime, you can understand where your seed stands.
Right.
Maybe we can, next time, sometime we can discuss where we can keep the EMC data of all the crops and correlate with the environmental condition through January to December. This can be done individually.
Perfect.
This is what I want to explain.
Great, great, sir. And you have very well explained the importance of dryers to the audience. And of course, you know, in future episodes, whenever we invite you, like to understand a bit more about dryers. I guess this is still a concept which many manufacturers has yet to explore and dig deep into, and very important aspect as well. Thank you, Mr. Rao. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay.
And I will also like to thank my audience for viewing us, for all the questions they have sent. Today we have asked all the 7 questions, and there were so many other questions you have sent, and probably we'll pick up those questions one by one, maybe in future episodes. So thank you once again, and we will again present live with Agrosaw in coming Saturday 4 p.m. sharp with a new expert. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye.
Bye, sir.